Everyone, it's LS, and I'm joined by Croissant, and this is the KingZone versus Afreeca Game 4 LCK Spring 2018 Finals, and this is match point, so we will see what Afreeca ends up bringing out. They are on the red side, and KingZone on blue, and I talked about earlier in one of the previous VODs that I think that red side in this meta should be more inclined to play some sort of split or poke-based type of a style. I think that the way that the meta is right now favors that type of gameplay. So we'll see what they end up doing in their final game here, and then bans seemingly staying the same. KingZone looks like they want to prioritize Sejuani first, but then end up immediately locking in the Kaisa. Perhaps thinking that Afreeca didn't ban it because they were going to pick it. It's the only thing I can think of.
4 games of Kaisa in a row. Poggers. Afreeca goes for the Tom Kench first again. Grab Varus here. 80. Nope. Kog'Maw.
I like Cog.
Yes,
Cog.
you do.
I've been saying for months that he's still one of the best champions in the game, like ADC, but no one's playing him, and I cannot fathom why. I really, really can't. He's still easily one of the best champions in the entire game. And okay, so Cog Tom Kench. So Afreeca can draft around this quite nicely. If they can just draft a stall comp and then have like one split pusher, it's really nice in my point of view. I think Azir is perfect here. Wait, what does that say? AFO win? Oh, Afreeca win? Okay. Cho'Gath getting banned. And Zac. And Alistar. Zac ban is interesting. Skarner now being banned away. I don't think that Afreeca would be interested in a Skarner here, to be completely honest. I don't understand why they would target it. Trundle is on the table still. Don't like Trundle either, but... Okay, Gragas. I actually don't mind Gragas. I think Gragas fits into that narrative quite nicely, and they're reserving counterpick for Keen up in top lane. And... So this is interesting. So I said that Afreeca should look to pick a split pusher and play the game out that way. Especially, there's even more incentive, I think, to do it because they have Tom Kench already secured. So it's not like Tom Kench is going to play a part in denying or slowing it down. The only problem is that the tank hasn't been picked yet, but you could anticipate that with Sion already having been banned away, that Afreeca might just go for the split pusher anyway, or they might even pick up Gnar themselves or something like that. We know that KingZone picks Jace here. And when you consider all of that information, I think that it's not that bad. It's a blind Jace, but you know that there's a pretty high chance that you're going to be met with a skirmisher, a duelist or something, in most cases. And if Afreeca elects with picking a tank, well, that's still kind of fine. It's not the end of the world if they end up picking it.
If Afreeca picks a tank, or if KZ picks
a tank? If Afreeca picks a tank.
Okay.
Like, if KingZone goes Jace, it's still fine if Afreeca picks a tank because of the champions that have been banned and the way that the team comps have unfolded. A tank still fits into Afreeca's team composition in the sense that it can protect Kog'Maw, but I think that it is fundamentally weaker because Afreeca is red side. So, in that regard, if KingZone goes blue side Jace, and then Afreeca picks a tank, they win out there because now Jace has split push incentive. Like, split push is online. The only way that you could say that maybe the split push is not online is because Afreeca already has Tushin on the Tom Kench. If KingZone picks a tank, then Afreeca can just pick Fiora or Camille or whatever, and you can try to open up the split push mechanic and then stall via Kog'Maw and Azir, and then just run them over.
It's really interesting that Afreeca is afraid enough of the Alistar, but not of the Morgana. Again, they just think that Alistar threatens the Tahm Kench lane. But, yeah. What do you think about the Camille Jace matchup?
I mean, if Keen falls behind, there's no recovering. So it's a knife fight. It's going to be a knife fight up in top lane. I think that Mowgli has a much easier time with approaching top, just because of the way that Jace is going to likely play out the lane. But in the event that something goes awry in top lane, I think that there's no salvaging it. So we'll see what ends up unfolding. Obviously, Khan on the Jace is a really, really scary thing. And I think once the Jace was picked, I don't like that Afreeca handshook it at that point when it's Khan's Jace. This is probably one of the very few times that I'll bring in to account a player on a champion. I think in other instances where maybe I would talk about something like that was like maybe in the past, like Faker's LeBlanc, or stuff like that. Like very iconic champions when piloted by a certain player.
Iconic.
Why?
Iconic.
What do you mean?
His name's Khan, and you said iconic.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Very clever.
Thank you.
All you.
Yep. Well, anyways, I think picking a tank and then just playing around the Kog'Maw might have been a better choice for Afreeca, because if they can put Khan behind, it's a win more. If Camille gets ahead, then it is certainly a win more. And that has sort of been one of the things that Afreeca has had a trend of doing in this series, is attempting to do win more plays, attempting to do win more things, with the exception of the Captain Careful triple inhibitor in game number 1. But I think because it is match point, and because in theory, just picking a tank and then playing it out smart and utilizing the Tahm Kench to stop the Jace split push, given the fact that you have Azir and Kog'Maw and Gragas, who's going to be able to turtle their red side jungle and try to stop Baron attempts and stuff, I think that would have been a better play. But if we remove Khan from the equation, if we just assume another random Jace, I think that the pick is fine.
Yeah. I was
yeah.
thinking what tank would really be their best option in that case, because Sion, Cho'Gath were banned, and I don't like the Ornn into the Jace. But then I realized that, I mean, Keen pulled out Malphite against KT, against Smeb's Camille, and I think Malphite would probably be fine against the Jace. I know it's Khan's Jace, but I think it's a lot harder to punish a Malphite versus something like Cho'Gath. So, yeah, I would have liked to see that better in their composition, to be honest.
Yeah, Malphite, I think, would be on the table this game. Sion being banned is obviously a little bit unfortunate, because he would be the best tank, I think, up in top lane. I'm trying to think of other champions that you could end up picking in this exact spot. And I'm blanking. Yeah, I'm blanking. What are the other tanks?
There's just not too many options in this.
You don't want to pick Maokai.
Yeah.
You don't want to pick. You don't want to pick Maokai. You could pick Shen. Was Shen banned? No, Shen was not banned. You could pick Shen. Poppy. Teleport coming in from Tushin. Cloud Drake being the first strike of the game is more important, I think, for KingZone than it is for Afreeca, primarily because I think that Khan and Peanut want that mobility. Khan especially because of the split push, if he's able to get an advantage. And they end up picking up a kill onto Keen, so we can just see how this unfolds. So they're going for the blue handoff. BDD thus has priority. Bottom lane hasn't recalled yet. And there's no vision control from Afreeca. Keen's kind of far up. He reads this correctly. He is backing up. He's conceding everything. He's already long gone. But it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
BDD's here. They're able to pick up the kill. Keen doesn't have flash. And now this is really, really bad because Keen just falls so far behind in XP. They drag Kuro up into top lane, which is going to mean that there's a priority loss now in mid lane. Yet again, and now bottom lane is under enormous amounts of pressure. So they're just pulling Afreeca apart all across the map. Kaisa is winning really hard. I really... One of my main things is going to be to try to understand all the damage foresight and team fighting capabilities of this champion, because I feel very, very uncomfortable not knowing certain spots.
Yeah, it's just so strange when I see her hitting a Sejuani and then randomly it'll be a 50% chunk on her HP, on the Sejuani's HP. And I played 2 games of her, even on 8.7, just felt really oppressive.
Khan sniffs this out. It just looks so unnatural. To get hit by the shock blast and then just casually still stand in the middle of the minion wave. That seems normal. That's normal. And then unbeknownst to him, the right side jungle is warded up. Khan does eventually take the bait though. That's so weird. Peanut's here.
He's just spading.
Yep. And Tushin's here now as well, and then now Peanut's gonna end up dying. So that was really weird. So it looks like Khan was sniffing it out, and then it looks like when he warded the brush and just saw the pink ward, almost as if he confirmed that Gragas wasn't there anymore. And then unbeknownst to him, he's actually just in the middle brush. So it's sort of like that that magician game where you guess which cup it's under. A little bit unfortunate for them, and then Afreeca is able to turn this around. And this, in theory, should actually be really, really, really good for Afreeca. Their bottom lane gets a kill onto Kog'Maw. It gets out of a rough spot in bottom. Jace gets killed once.
Who gets the kill? Camille? Gragas?
Gragas gets the kill, which isn't the best, but...
Yeah.
Then Kramer gets a kill on Cog. And KingZone's ahead right now in CS department everywhere, which is just a testament to their own individual ability.
Yep.
And I mean, the vision control from KingZone in this game is superb so far. And this is that spot that it's really unfortunate Afreeca finds themselves in. The split push knife fight against the Jace. And I think this is something that they didn't want to have happen. If Camille was even right now, this would still be acceptable. But it's a variable that I think that they could have avoided. They could have accepted that a tank would fall behind a little bit and then just scale up better. But maybe Keen wanted to have the knife fight and it ended up backfiring. And so now Afreeca is forced to worry about something that they didn't need to, especially because they already had the Tahm Kench secured. They're just trying to juggle the aggro right now. I mean, this is all that Afreeca should be doing. They should be letting Cog and Azir continuously scale up. And Camille still behind in CS. Jace doesn't have Black Cleaver yet. KingZone gonna get another turret. Gold lead's gonna continue to extend. The fortunate thing for Afreeca is that KingZone is rolling the worst possible dragons. A double Cloud Drake wouldn't be that bad, but a Cloud into an Ocean that's fucking terrible. That is honestly terrible.
Yeah. Oh man. It's the first time this series that Afreeca has caught KingZone at the Baron Pit, or just around that objective, instead of vice versa.
You get the Herald, yeah, but they end up paying greatly for it. And this should be fantastic for Afreeca. It should be really, really, really good for them.
Yeah.
TP coming in. They get on to Prey, kill him immediately. Sejuani ends up escaping. They're able to alleviate a lot of the pressure in the lanes. They're still down almost 3k gold, but it's okay. The problem is that the Herald should be used to crack Kuro's mid-tier 1 turret. Normally that's something that I really, really despise, but I think in this particular instance, because you have the Jace already asserting pressure, and it is 20 minutes, I think just getting that opened up, continuing to accelerate the Jace and enable him, because he's now a primary win condition for KingZone. So in that regard, I think it's all really, really good. The Wits End second, or the Rune on second, I think is stupid. And here's why I think it's stupid. Jace is splitting. He's not in a team fight. Talia and Kai'Sa and Morgana will not be, in theory, getting hit by multiple bullets at the same time. I don't understand why it's not just a Witch End to bolster Gragas' damage, bolster Tom, bolster your own, bolster Azir, and provide yourself with a lot of tankiness against the Sejuani, against the Talia, against the Morgana. Doesn't make sense to me.
Kai'Sa.
Oh yeah, Kai'Sa deal. Okay, yeah, even against Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I agree. Witch End
makes
is the
no
absolute
sense.
move.
Yeah. Makes no sense not to just have Wits End second. I feel like Kramer's itemization has been really, really bizarre. Like the Jhin game, and now this game as well. Con split push enabled, and you can see that Afreeca is struggling so hard to get any sort of tempo control that Tushin is basically on janitor duty with Kramer, and he's never able to utilize his ultimate. Like in a perfect world, if Afreeca was even in gold and they were even in tempo play, like they're able to meet waves, bounce them back, and have 20, 30 seconds of breathing time, you can have it so that Tushin is able to support Keen whenever Khan's pushing. And then obviously it's on KingZone to identify that that's going to happen and maybe try to play around it by trying to entice Tushin to go for the play and then collapsing on them or trying to kill them with Peanut and BDD. But right now Afreeca is just so behind on tempo that they're struggling to manage the waves. They're okay. They're down 3k gold. They have Cog, they have Azir. But the ticking time bomb of Jace is still very, very present. And even though they do have Cog and Azir, they're going to have to find a way to stall Jace to the point where he's manageable. Which right now he's not manageable. That's really good. That's really, really good. They give all the gold up to Kuro. I think that's fine. Kramer gets the red buff, and now they're going to tap mid. Keen's getting a lot of wave. So let me look at something really quick. This is bad. Okay? So giving all the gold to Kuro is fine. Having him eat this entire wave is bad. If you have Keen down here, stall this wave and don't push it. And you let this wave kill this wave. You let this wave kill this wave. You let this wave plus this wave kill the next wave. And you lock the lane right here and you just CS it gradually. There is no threat of a major neutral. KingZone can't threaten Baron. KingZone, no one cares if KingZone gets the fucking Cloud Drake now at, 25 plus minutes. KingZone does not have any ability to threaten bottom lane. KingZone does not have an ability to threaten mid lane. Use this wave to permanently freeze top lane and create a fucking pit of money that KingZone can never unlock and they can never touch. CSing it immediately and releasing it back into the opponent is a total error. Super, super big blunder. That's really bad. Keen immediately shoving out bottom wave and knowing that it's just going to be caught by one of the carries is also another just really, really bad play. There's no reason to try to accelerate the game or unlock waves like this when your entire team composition is just about stalling long enough to the point where Camille can answer Jace or sustain against him, and Jace does no longer becomes a threat, and then Azir and Kog'Maw can just attack move basically through the opponents. Oh, it's my water. Stay hydrated bot told me I had to hydrate. Thank you, stay hydrated bot.
Where's the hydration bot? Oh, nice. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if it's a real bot or if it's just someone with a lot of time on their hands. It's like, have you ever seen that YouTube guy? It's like Ben something, he smiles. It's like Benjamin. Oh God, I gotta find it. Hold on, we're pausing the VOD review. More important things going on here. Hold on, are you looking for it? Max found it. Yeah, Benjamin Bennett. If you don't know who this guy is, okay, go on YouTube, look up Benjamin Bennett. It's this guy. He sits there for 4 hours in a corner, smiling. That's it. That's all the videos are.
Did you see his house got broken into?
What?
While he was smiling. He was streaming it.
Oh, the guy that broke in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know about that. That's
Yeah.
great. Guy broke into his house while he was streaming, and he just continued to sit there, smiling, and he pissed himself. It's great. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Afreeca is in position to win.
What goes wrong?
Yeah, what goes wrong? This is like the big question. This is like when you're watching a television series and the antagonist, through all sorts of logic, should come out on top, but then something just goes wrong, you know?
Yeah, like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like the one. Yeah, that's a good example. This fucking Dragon Ball Z, Goku's gonna win. Makes no sense. How do they lose this?
I feel like they're just going to give up a Baron or something. Cog has picked up the wit's end and is now building an IE or S as a reaver.
No, isn't that isn't he just gonna go Scimitar? Wait,
Scimitar doesn't build out of it BF anymore.
coach, by the way. My coach. Oh, that's right. It's Vamp, Scepter, QSS, and Pickaxe.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, see? Coach.
Nice. Okay.
How do they win?
Oh god, it's over. They're just gonna die here. Nope.
They have another team composition where as long as they do a front to back, they cannot lose. Just let Kog'Maw... Okay, or we just give up Baron. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
it's
is
so
what
gross.
happens when you go for the Sightstone item and not Warmongers
You know,
or something on Gragas, right?
The super fascinating thing is KingZone was the team in the I did a VOD review once called David versus Goliath, and KingZone was the team that came back against a comp that they shouldn't be able to come back from. Like, it is so fascinating how KingZone consistently has worse team compositions at certain points of the game, and they find ways to finagle themselves into advantageous positions and victory. It's really, really beautiful to watch. But in the same time, it's also very frustrating to watch because we're watching the second place team fail to do something that on paper should be easy. This is really, really strange here. Why does Gragas recall? I guess they're really just not anticipating KingZone to go for this, but that Gragas recall is just so bizarre. Especially because, I mean, Kuro's still relatively healthy. Kramer is healthy. Tushin's healthy. They should just dance and posture a little bit longer and then get Gragas the recall, I think. Or have Tushin... Here, you ready for this? You ready for the sick baton pass? Have Tushin run like this to right here, and then have Gragas recall, and then you run to him, and then Tom Kench ult him in.
Yeah.
That's completely just... I don't know. I have a comment for that. But it's something they could do.
It just makes me sad to see the Gragas on 1.5 items, because I don't count the Sightstone as a full item, and then Sejuani with 3.
Mm-hmm. KingZone's up 4K. It's not the end. It's really not the end of the world, though. As long as Afreeca can survive the Baron without bleeding too much, they're still okay. As long as they position and fight properly. Keen's splitting. So they're trading. Yeah, this is game over. They're bleeding too much. Yeah, they're bleeding way too much.
I missed that. I didn't see how Kramer died.
Cog is the most important piece to the puzzle right now. I like what Peanut's doing. Just escorting Baron minions in because they know that Afreeca can't actually go onto him. He's too tanky. Yeah, this whole setup is just not very good. And without... Even if Camille is here, the only thing that would happen is in order for the Sejuani play to work, Camille has to not be here. Because if Camille's here, the wave in mid dies. And if the wave in mid dies, they can give up this inhibitor, take this wide arc, right, with Kog'Maw, Azir, etc., and then Camille's right here. And then, after these players leave the base, Camille runs down mid and pushes out the next wave. What ends up happening is Afreeca bleeds a turret and an inhibitor. But that's fine. As long as, you know what as long as they can fade the Baron, then Afreeca can play mid and bot lane and wait for the L Dragon to come up, and they can try to win the game through that.
Oh my god. They were just playing way too aggressively on that tower. Or for the inhibitor, yeah.
This game went from Afreeca winning to KingZone ending the game in a couple of minutes. And that's really, really, really sad. That is like a team level, a Team Liquid level kind of win. Which is really sad to see from the second place LCK team to allow that to happen. Kaisa, by the way, is completely overpowered. The damage that this champion dishes out. I mean, Afreeca is handing them advantageous fights that they should not be able to get into. Afreeca is like, it's like watching a Zerg like mutomicro around turrets and marines when they shouldn't be able to. You have to give KingZone credit for that, but it's just really weird to see it. It's like knowing that you're about to get hit by a punch, but being incapable of stopping it. Really, really sad. Like right here. If this fight just doesn't take place and Afreeca concedes the turret, concedes inhibitor, and Camille, if she was present with her team, shoves out, it's fine. They can wait for the Elder and they can try to take that team fight when KingZone doesn't have the Baron buff persisting anymore.
Even after that first fight around the tower, they would have been okay, but then they fought for the inhibitor too.
Yes.
And then just dropped.
Like we look at the items right now, and it's pretty fine.
Yeah.
Everything here is pretty fine except for the difference in jungle. The difference in jungle is the most noticeable, but that's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Because Tom Kench's value, I think, at this point is more than Morgana because of the way that Afreeca will take the team fights.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was pretty much it for me. I feel like, whatchamacallit? I feel like Afreeca did not play to what they needed to do to win the game. They played to what they wanted to do throughout the series, which is weird because of the captain careful play in game one. I feel like KingZone overcame situations that they shouldn't have been able to against the second place LCK team. And I don't know. With that being said, though, it is concerning that KingZone's drafts allow such things to occur in a series. So hopefully by MSI some things change up. But I do feel like they're getting away with a lot because they're so much better individually that these type of mistakes or so are not going to be costing them.
Yeah. I fully recognize that KingZone is perceived or pretty much is the best, one of the best, strongest Korean teams in a very long time to come from Korea. But at the same time, I think that MSI will be much closer than people think or are expecting from not only between KingZone and LPL's representative, but, you know, Europe and NA, in my opinion, are fairly close right now. And so I just think it's going to be very competitive, and I don't really know how it's going to pan out and what kind of preparation each team is doing, but yeah.
I just hope IG and KingZone are on opposite sides so that we can have a proper final.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm looking forward to EU versus NA.
Yeah, me too.
That's nice. That'll be fun. I want to see what happens there.
Yeah. You talked about the NA hype train, but from what I've seen in the community, I think a lot more people have expectations of Europe, and I didn't get to do an in-depth viewing of the EU finals, but from what I saw, I felt the same way about NA's finals. I just wasn't super impressed by Liquid or by Fnatic, so.
Yep. I didn't get to see EU, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think highly of some of their players, so.
For sure.
There's that. But But all right, so that's it for game number 4. And then MSI is when? It's in a few weeks.
Yeah, it
starts in what,
actually,
3
it might
weeks?
be the start of May. MSI.
I think it's 3 weeks. But I'm going to conclude this VOD here.
Yeah.